They laughed when you went silent. They thought your silence meant weakness. They thought your waiting meant failure. They thought because nothing was happening on the outside, nothing was happening inside you. But they were wrong. What nobody understood was that heaven was building pressure inside your spirit. Every betrayal, every delay, every lonely night, every closed door, every moment you almost gave up, was preparing one move, one decision, one shift so powerful, it was going to change everything forever. And today, that move has already begun. Listen carefully because this message is not for everybody. This message is only for the person who has been pushed to the edge, but somehow still refuses to quit. The person who cried in silence. The person who kept praying even when nothing changed. The person who felt forgotten. The person who almost walked away from their purpose because the pain became too heavy. If that's you, then what you're about to hear may be the confirmation that changes your life forever, because your waiting season is officially over, and the moment you understand why your life became so difficult, you will never see your struggles the same way again. There is a reason the attacks became stronger right before this moment. There is a reason people suddenly turned against you. There is a reason you felt exhausted, confused, emotionally drained. Because something powerful was getting ready to happen through you. The enemy only attacks people who carry something valuable. Read that again in your spirit. Ordinary people don't trigger spiritual warfare like this. Average people are not tested at this level. The pressure you survived proves there is something extraordinary attached to your future. That's why they misunderstood you. That's why they mocked your vision. That's why they left when you needed them most. Because they could not recognize what heaven placed inside you. But God did. And while everyone else counted you out, God was preparing your comeback in secret. Do you know what's dangerous? A person who has nothing left to fear. A person who already survived heartbreak. A person who already survived rejection. A person who already lost everything, and still kept going. That person becomes unstoppable. And that person is becoming you. You have entered a season where your pain is turning into power. Your confusion is turning into clarity. Your weakness is turning into authority. And the people who ignored you will soon witness something they cannot explain. Because this next chapter is not normal success. This is restoration. This is divine acceleration. This is the moment where years of delay suddenly begin moving all at once. Watch carefully what happens after this. The opportunities will start appearing. The doors will start opening. The right people will suddenly enter your life. The ideas will become clearer. Your energy will return. Your confidence will rise again. And the strangest part? It will happen faster than anyone expected, including you. Because once God decides it's time, no person can stop what's coming. Not betrayal, not jealousy, not attacks, not lies, not delays, nothing. But before this new season begins completely, there's something you must understand. Your waiting season was never punishment. It was preparation. God had to build you in private before revealing you in public. Because if your blessings arrived too early, they would have destroyed you instead of elevating you. Some people want the crown without the process. But power without preparation creates disaster. That's why your journey looked different. That's why things moved slower. That's why doors closed unexpectedly. You were being protected from things you didn't understand at the time. And now you're finally beginning to see it. Think about the person you were 1 year ago. You were weaker, more emotional, more distracted, more dependent on people who were never meant to stay. But look at you now. You survived things that were supposed to break you. You became stronger in silence, wiser in pain, sharper through disappointment. And now, you're carrying a level of discernment you never had before. That transformation was necessary, because where you're going next requires a completely different version of you. Listen carefully. The people who walked away did not ruin your destiny. They revealed who could not go with you. Some exits are actually protection. Some heartbreaks are actually redirection. Some delays are actually divine timing. And some endings are heaven making space for something greater. That's why you cannot go back anymore. You have outgrown the old version of yourself, the old mindset, the old fears, the old attachments, the old limitations. You are not the same person anymore. And deep down, you know it. There's something changing inside you right now. You feel less desperate for approval, less afraid of losing people, less interested in proving yourself. Why? Because your spirit is finally realizing who you are. You are not forgotten. You are not cursed. You are not failing. You are being positioned. There's a huge difference. And once you understand that, everything changes. Because people who are positioned by God eventually rise in ways nobody can explain. That's why your story will shock people. Not because you became lucky, but because you survived impossible seasons without giving up. Do you understand how rare that is? Most people quit too early. Most people break under pressure. Most people abandon their purpose the moment life gets difficult. But not you. You kept moving even when your heart was heavy, even when your prayers felt unanswered, even when nobody checked on you, even when the future looked uncertain. You kept going, and heaven saw every second of it, every tear, every sleepless night, every silent battle, every moment you wanted to disappear. God saw all of it, and now He's responding. This is the part nobody talks about. There comes a moment when spiritual pressure suddenly breaks. A moment where everything shifts. A moment where the person who suffered the most becomes the strongest in the room. That moment is approaching you now. You can feel it. Something feels different lately. Your spirit feels more alert. Your intuition feels stronger. Your patience is disappearing. Because deep inside, you know your life is about to change. You did not survive all this pain for nothing. You did not cry all those nights for nothing. You did not lose all those people for nothing. There was purpose behind the pressure. There was meaning behind the suffering. And soon, you're going to understand why everything had to happen exactly this way. The same people who doubted you will soon wonder how you became so strong. The same people who ignored you will suddenly start paying attention. The same people who underestimated you will realize they completely misjudged you. But by then, you won't even need their validation anymore. That's the real transformation. Not becoming famous, not becoming rich, not proving people wrong. The real transformation is becoming so connected to your purpose that opinions no longer control you. That's freedom. And freedom changes everything. Because once fear loses control over your life, your real power awakens. That's why this next season is going to feel different. You won't chase. You won't beg. You won't force things anymore. What belongs to you will arrive naturally. The right doors, the right people, the right opportunities, the right timing. Everything begins aligning once you stop operating from fear. And that alignment has already started. You may not fully see it yet, but pieces are moving behind the scenes right now. Conversations are happening you know nothing about. Opportunities are forming in secret. Divine connections are being arranged. And suddenly, when the time is right, everything will come together at once. That's how God works. Quietly, unexpectedly, powerfully. And when it happens, nobody will be able to deny it. This is why you had to stop doubting yourself. Because doubt delays destiny. Every time you questioned your worth, you weakened your own vision. Every time you settled for less, you disconnected from what God was trying to bring you. But not anymore. This season requires confidence. Not arrogance. Confidence. The kind that comes from surviving things you never thought you could survive. The kind that comes from knowing God carried you when nobody else did. The kind that says, I may have suffered, but I'm still standing. That energy changes everything. And people can feel it. Have you noticed? You're starting to see through fake people faster. You're starting to protect your peace more. You're starting to walk away from negativity quicker. That's growth. That's spiritual maturity. That's what happens when pain finally teaches you your value. And now the version of you that once begged for acceptance is becoming the version that commands respect without saying a word. Because real power is quiet. Real strength is calm. Real purpose doesn't need to scream for attention. It naturally attracts it. That's why your silence became dangerous. While others were talking, you were transforming. While others underestimated you, you were evolving. While others laughed, you were preparing for a breakthrough they never saw coming. And now, the shift has started. The waiting is over. The delay is ending. The season of surviving is ending. And the season of rising is beginning. But hear this carefully. Not everyone can go where you're going. Some people were assigned to your past, not your future. Stop trying to carry relationships God already removed. Stop reopening doors heaven already closed. Stop grieving people who abandoned your journey. If they walked away during your hardest season, they were never assigned to your destiny. Because the people sent by God don't disappear when life becomes difficult. They stay. And now your spirit is finally learning the difference between attachment and alignment. That lesson alone will save your future. Because where you're headed next requires discernment. You cannot afford distractions anymore. You cannot afford fake loyalty anymore. You cannot afford small thinking anymore. Your next level requires discipline, focus, faith, and complete trust in what God is building through you. Because this isn't random anymore. This is intentional. Your story is becoming a testimony. Your pain is becoming wisdom. Your scars are becoming proof that survival is possible. And there are people who will heal one day simply because you refuse to quit. Never forget that. Your survival has purpose attached to it. Your comeback has purpose attached to it. Even this message reaching you right now is not an accident. You were meant to hear this today, because your spirit needed confirmation. Confirmation that your breakthrough is closer than it appears. Confirmation that your suffering was not meaningless. Confirmation that the shift you feel is real. So stop doubting yourself. Stop shrinking your vision. Stop apologizing for the greatness inside you. You have survived too much to keep playing small. This is your season to rise, to rebuild, to recover, to become everything pain tried to stop. And trust me, the people who counted you out are not prepared for what happens next, because the version of you that's emerging now is stronger than the version that entered the struggle. Wiser, sharper, fearless, spiritually awakened. And once a person reaches that level, nothing can stop them anymore. So if you feel pressure right now, good. Pressure creates transformation. Diamonds are formed under pressure. And so are powerful people. You are closer than you think. Closer to your breakthrough. Closer to your purpose. Closer to the life you prayed for. Don't stop now. Not when heaven has already started moving things in your favor. This next chapter is going to feel unreal. Not because life suddenly becomes perfect, but because you finally become powerful enough to handle what once broke you. That's the miracle. And when people ask how you made it through, you'll remember this moment. The moment you realized the waiting was over. The moment you realized your pain had purpose. The moment you realized God never abandoned you. He was preparing you, preparing your spirit, preparing your strength, preparing your future, for a move so powerful that your entire life was about to change forever.